So on October 3rd, 1995, water usage across America just abruptly plummeted, and long-distance phone calls basically flatlined.
Yeah, because like 150 million people were just frozen in place, right?
Yeah,
They were all waiting to hear a single word in a Los Angeles courtroom. Not guilty.
right. Well, welcome to a new deep dive. Our mission today is to unpack a summary of the O.J. Simpson case. We really want to understand exactly how the trial of the century divided a nation and, permanently altered media and justice.
Yeah, and to really set the stage for that, we have to go back to June 12th, 1994. Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman are found brutally murdered in Los Angeles. And the evidence just immediately points to O.J. Simpson.
Who was, of course, this intensely famous former NFL star and actor at the time. I mean, imagine one of your most universally beloved modern celebrities just suddenly fleeing from police on live television.
It was unreal, because on June 17th, instead of surrendering, he was spotted in that white Ford Bronco. And millions of people just watched this slow-speed chase broadcast live across the country.
Which is just wild. That live broadcast basically shifted the case from a local murder investigation into this massive national real-time media obsession.
Exactly. It completely set the stage for a highly publicized legal battle.
Yeah.
And fast forward to the trial in January 1995, the prosecution came out strong. I mean, they relied heavily on forensic science.
Right. They had blood and DNA evidence linking him directly to the crime alongside, records and photos of his past domestic violence against Nicole.
Right. And in most cases, that kind of science is just an impenetrable wall.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. If the DNA evidence was like that scientifically bulletproof, how did the defense possibly counter it to create any doubt?
Well, they pivoted. They didn't really attack the science. They put the investigation itself on trial. They essentially argued that the evidence was mishandled from the start.
Oh, wow. So they just targeted the people running the investigation instead.
Exactly. They presented these highly racist statements from Detective Mark Furman, which was a move meant to completely shatter the investigation's credibility in the eyes of the jury.
Which brings up the trial's most iconic moment, right? Simpson trying on the ill-fitting gloves.
Yeah, that was a huge gamble for the prosecution that completely backfired. It prompted defense attorney Johnny Cochran's famous line, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Right, right. And that strategic dismantling of the investigation culminated in a deeply polarizing conclusion after, 9 months of testimony?
It did. And it's really important to contrast the legal outcomes impartially here. On October 3rd, 1995, the criminal trial jury acquitted Simpson. But then in 1997, there was a civil lawsuit.
And that had a totally different result, didn't it?
Yeah, because a civil lawsuit uses a much lower standard of proof. So in that trial, he was actually found liable for the deaths, which resulted in millions in damages.
Right, right. But man, that initial criminal verdict really exposed these massive racial and social divisions in America. I mean, you had some people looking at the trial and seeing overwhelming evidence of guilt, while others saw a total failure by the state to eliminate reasonable doubt.
Yeah, and even 30 years later, this case fundamentally changed how the public views celebrity, race, domestic violence, and honestly, media coverage in the criminal justice system.
It really did. It turned the justice system into content. Which leaves you with a final thought to mull over today. Considering how live broadcasts turn this tragedy into a national spectacle, at what point does real-time media coverage stop simply reporting on the justice system and actually begin to influence what we consider reasonable doubt?